This is Jayashree, CWC Wellness Champion for nearly 3 years. Let me introduce Shaija Ali. She's an avid wellness enthusiast. She's a marketing professional and holistic fitness consultant.
Yeah, thank you, Jayashree. Let me just share my presentation and kick it off. My name is Shaija. I am by training an engineer and a marketing professional, but healthy living has kind of been a passion of mine, which kind of led me to indulge, if I may say so, in a couple of side gigs. I am a fitness instructor, and the other side gig has been that of a wellness coach, which I started more during the pandemic. And so I'm here really today to kind of share some of my observations in these two roles that I've played, what I have seen as far as the gut, body and mind connection is concerned. We heard from two very esteemed panelists. They shared with us all their the latest scientific research and their observations in the clinic. And what I have seen is absolutely reinforces, whatever they have presented to us. Really, there is no healing that happens without starting in the gut. So it's always you start at the gut and everything else will follow. So that's kind of been my observation. So moving on. All right, so what here I jotted down is basically what I've seen, in my role as a wellness coach over the last couple of years. And, more or less, I feel people deal and suffer through their gut issues. We consider it kind of a default setting wherein, many times gut discomfort and, issues are not truly followed through. It has become, kind of norm to expect that there is, that's the price we pay even for eating and leading a day-to-day life. And that's kind of the narrative that I ask my clients to change. I almost always begin with, encouraging them to kind of, what I've noted down here is some of the tools that I recommend, and I work with my clients as they navigate their wellness journey. And none of these tools, are really groundbreaking or something that we have not heard before. But when we put all these tools together in our arsenal and we use it in a very cohesive and in a very structured format, that's when true health transformations happen. And I have been kind of fortunate to be able to witness some folks' health journeys. And almost always, as everything improved, as their health improved, as whatever goals they had set for themselves, they kind of worked towards it. They all reported not just increased physical health, but always an improved, a mental health, a feeling of general overall wellness. So there is no separating, just people who come to me just with physical goals. The results are not just physical, it's mental too. Okay, so, I'll quickly go through some of the tools. One of the tools I really, encourage is to observe and journal how you feel and actively listen to your gut. So what is your gut telling you? How do you feel after certain meals? So I encourage my clients to take pictures throughout the day of what they're eating and then kind of document how they felt. Is there bloating? Is there, how do they feel? Does it weigh them down? If you need a nap to recover from a meal that you've had, then something's quite not right. Food is meant to nourish and energize. And when we are not exactly eating what is good for us, that's kind of when we feel totally weighed down and bloated and, a ton of other issues. So by observing and journaling, we ourselves will be able to see, once we collect our own data, we can see the patterns. Is there something that, I'm sensitive to do? I don't feel good when I eat this. In our busy lifestyle, these kind of signals are lost. So when you actively listen to your gut and journal and document it, then you can see those patterns. And, usually I work with my clients to kind of eliminate things once they have discovered and acknowledged what is it that doesn't make them feel good. I kind of work with them to eliminate eliminate those foods and then kind of reintroduce it much later down the road when their gut has healed and they are feeling that introducing these foods, they are able to handle it much better. Both our panelists touched upon, I think, the diet, very important. We are what we eat, and food is medicine. And I also tend to emphasize, the food that we eat and how we eat and when we eat. How you eat is, even drawing upon ancient wisdom, we'll see that we were encouraged to eat food slowly, kind of indulge in the pleasure of eating, give it our undivided attention. We kind of lost these skills with our busy lifestyles, wherein, it's usually mindless eating in front of television or somewhere else in a meeting. So, getting back to that mindful eating, slow eating, these are all practices that we can adopt again to kind of heal our body and move along on our wellness journeys. When you eat is also very important. I think Dr. Kusum Bhatt did touch upon intermittent fasting. Many of my clients do try that in a very supervised setting and in consultation with their doctors. And we were never meant to handle very heavy meals just before we go to bed. That really works against our health instead of nourishing and flourishing our bodies. And there are various techniques too that we have used, even traditionally, to kind of make our foods easier to digest, fermenting, sprouting, soaking. These are all techniques that we have used, to kind of make food easier to digest, easier on our gut, so that we are able to absorb all the nutrients, and also adding certain spices and certain superfoods to it kind of makes it more digestible, and we are able to get the maximum benefits from these foods. Okay, and definitely exercise, of course, that is, all the research is there. It's well documented how much it helps us feel our best, both physically and mentally, right? And what I encourage my clients to do is really, try different forms of exercise. Try Tai Chi or Taekwondo or kickboxing or dance fitness, whatever it is, and find something that really truly speaks to you, and which you're able to integrate into your life. And when you do that, what we find is that you're more likely to stick to it and sustain it over a period of time. Enrolling in a gym that's like about 45 minutes away from your home really means that you might make it only once or twice a week. But finding something that you truly enjoy and in a way that it can integrate into your busy lifestyle, then it's more likely that we will stick to it, and that we will be able to really maximize the benefits that we can get from our exercise regimen. Relaxation, I think Dr. Kusum Bhatt again touched upon it. So many different techniques. Again, we find something that really speaks to us, that we can integrate into our busy lives, and that gives us maximum benefits. And I also emphasize actual social networks. We are social beings. We were always meant to kind of, have these deep, meaningful relationships, and they can be very satisfying and also excellent stress busters. And that is why I think during the pandemic, which kind of led to social isolation, we did see, a rise in kind of mental health issues, and that comes from social isolation. So. Again, if we are building tools in our arsenal to live a very healthy lifestyle, then social networking is also a part of the tool set that we should use. Sleep is definitely the top priority. So much so that if my clients tell me they either have time in the morning to exercise or sleep, I most of the time encourage them to sleep. Because then when you're sleep deprived, you kind of get caught in a vicious cycle, because you're sleep deprived, you're tired, you pump up your body with caffeine, you make unhealthy food choices, and you really then, by the end of the day, you do not have the time or the mood or the energy to go, work out. So sleep is always prioritized almost over everything. Okay, it should be a non-negotiable part of your healthy lifestyle. And then, of course, follow up with your doctor. All this observing and journaling. I do coach my clients how to prepare for a doctor visit so that they really can make the most of the valuable time of their doctor. They can see, they can report what they've been feeling, what doesn't seem right, and then work with their doctor for any deeper investigations that are needed for them to move along in their wellness journey. And one of the tools that I mentioned before, of course I'm biased here, but this is my observations as a dance fitness instructor. And of course, the physical benefits are well known, but it's the mental benefits that I felt really outweighs even the physical benefits. We are, as human beings, are really hardwired to move to music. That's why when we hear a good tune, we kind of, our foot starts tapping. Even when we are, cooking, whatever, we are shopping, we hear a good tune and we kind of, almost unconsciously move to that tune. And dancing fitness is really, we tap into that intrinsic wiring that we have. I've always taught this even before the pandemic, but the most feedback I got about how much it helped people was, during these 2 years. We moved our classes to the park and we taught out in the fresh air and under the trees, in the sunshine. And the feedback was overwhelming in terms of how crucial it was for people's moods, how they reported how they felt. They reported that they felt on a high for the rest of the day. They felt as a part of a tribe, really. Even if we were wearing our mask and socially distancing, there is something about dancing together that kind of bonds and forms those relationships, so you don't feel as isolated as you do when walking out from home alone. So these have been kind of some of my observations, both as a wellness instructor and as a dance fitness instructor. And really in conclusion, I think our two panelists presented us excellent data on how our brain and mind are connected. And what I have seen in my tiny little practice is really that it's the linkage is undeniable. There is no healing that happens if you don't start at the gut and then move on forward.